I don't know.
Well, that's just my premonition. It could be rubbish. I don't know. I like it though. It entertains me.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can work with it how you want. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So how do you? I mean, essentially, you had questions or things you'd like explaining. Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked what you're putting together, and I was like, as I went through, I'm like,
Shall I put it up on the screen so we can both see it?
sure. Yeah. Yeah. You can do that too. And I'll kind of see.
Yeah.
You had,
There. How's that?
great. Excellent.
Oh, that's nice because I can see you on my other screen. So if I'm doing that, it's because I'm looking at you across there.
Well, you're like this big right now for me. So,
Wow. The diet's going well.
Now I can make you a little bit bigger and still see the text.
All the hours in the gym, I'm now this.
Exactly. So much for the workouts that build muscles,
Exactly. Right, far away.
Yeah, so like I guess for me it was trying to see how this could work also for me.
Yeah.
When I was reading it, you wrote it really nicely, and the questions you have, if the following things are important to you, then please keep reading. I definitely have a yes to all of them, right? Of what I want to create. Yeah, it's actually bullet points further up, the very beginning, the first 4 bullet points.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there.
Oh, there. So yeah, serve more ideal clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think this is a big one, right? And funny enough, I've just come off a call where it's really interesting. The person who was on the call has got a full practice. They've got as many clients as they would want. The challenge is they don't have the clients they want. So they, like let's say, and I don't know how many clients, that wasn't part of the call or a discussion, but let's say they were looking for 20. So they've got 20. In fact, they've got more than 20, but they've got 2 problems. A, it's not really the people they want to be helping, and B, it's not really the price they want to help at. So it's like everything. There's like nuance to everything. I mean, get full, yeah, amazing. But full of what?
Yeah, and I apologize if you hear like some squeaky noise behind. My husband is printing right underneath his desk right now, and I can't stop it.
That's okay. Because just for a moment there, I thought you were going to say because my husband's squeaking under the desk. Okay.
I'm squeaking, but that's why I want to mute before, because I was trying to avoid this like funny noise.
No, it's fine. It's listening. Fine. Squeaking, printing, squeaking husbands, all welcome. It's all good.
No, it's just a printer.
Okay, so yeah, serve more ideal clients.
That's exactly what I have a little bit as well, right? I have the clients right now. I mean, there's other issues, like, or not issues, but what I kind of want to grow, but it's definitely not exactly where I would like it to be.
Yeah.
And also when I'm looking at what you were saying about creating like, like a package program, that sometimes I'm a little bit, maybe I'm just the beginning of like, okay, how much do I do a program that's like, this is what we'll go through, this is what we'll talk, versus sort of this open free flow and taking what comes up in the moment.
Yeah.
And there's part of it I hear people like saying, like, I have this program, it takes this long. And it's still for me to figure out like, okay, what would this look like for me? And that's why I wanted to know from you in this year program that you're putting together. Is it not only, because what I'm getting for you from this is very much like, who are we being that we are putting this together, like that we are able to show up the way that we want to, and the way we want to be as a coach, and who do we want to attract, like that. I feel like is the main thing, right? Am I getting this properly?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, totally. And then there's some like mechanics which are quite useful to have like a loose knowing about.
Yeah.
In the same way that it's quite handy to understand what the clutch does when you're learning to drive a car, assuming it's not automatic. Assuming you're learning in a manual car, it's helpful to know what the clutch does when you put it down. And when it comes back up. So yeah, exactly that. But yeah, who are you being? Exactly so. That's right.
And I think, for me, it was also like the two components, both components play an important role for me right now. Is one,
Yeah.
recognizing that the being, there's a lot more to develop.
Yeah.
And there's also sort of like the how that follows after the who, you know,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah.
and for me, to, you know, for it to be what I would want is like this combination that kind of goes like, okay, I developed this and I developed this at the same time. So I'm just wondering, as you put this together, like, what is at the forefront for you to bring to this, and how, or what would you like people get out of this most, or who comes to you? Now I'm stacking questions, but you know, who would benefit the most, I think, from your perspective? In your
Well, I think I understand the question. I think you're saying, so let me just check that I do understand the question, so I don't answer a
I
different
asked
question.
about 7, you know.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, I was just like, hang on, where do I start with? Like, so I think who will benefit from this? And in a sense, the answer has to be, well, whoever creates benefit from it.
Yep. Okay.
Because in like my thinking, it could be, yeah, this, you know, this kind of person, somebody who's able to describe what you've just described. Perfect. They'll see that the importance of who they're being, and they'll have some sensitivity or knowledge that there are elements of how they're being that they're unaware of yet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's option of choice there that is hidden currently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an evolution.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And similarly, it could be someone who would never get any conscious awareness of that. And just because of the nature of how I create things, the adjustments will be made anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I find this a lot in, like, the coaching world's peculiar. Partly that's why I love it, because they're the people who want to know how. When I talk to like ordinary humans about this, they never ask how. Oh, okay, so I need to be more decisive in those situations. Oh yeah, okay, I know what. Yeah, that's fine. Done. They would never go, yeah, so how would I do that? Like, what are the 10 steps to me being more decisive? That's a learned thing. That's been inputted by how personal development is taught. It's taught like that. Okay, so hang on, you know, if we think of, put the frame of the principles on for a minute, hang on, how am I using thought then in this moment? Yeah, let me have a think about that. Well, no, not really. Just pay more attention to what it is you want to create, who you want to be, what would that look like? Who's the person you want to talk to? And you don't really need to have like, well, I want to talk to somebody who's 6'3", who watches football on a set. You just don't need that. That's like, that's what the brain imagines, or the mind imagines it would be like. It's like, no, become energetically charged with who you want to speak to and what you see the potential for them. So I see huge potential for people spending time together and with me, for them coming away like really clear, energized, refreshed, not just ready to take action, but like it's spilling over, taking action, the next thing and the next thing, testing, playing, having fun with it. Having, when somebody says, you know, like I might be interested in your program, awesome, brilliant, would you like to buy that now? Now some people go, oh, it's too pushy, and they've lost sight of the game there. Like how can push come that way? Push is only how we imagine what someone's saying. I can be pushy, but I can't be pushy really. Does that make sense? So when people develop a practical sensitivity to this, because the mind does things like it steals ideas like being authentic, and actually what it replaces it with is being timid, or behaving in such a way that I've seen somebody else who I admire behave, copying. Oh, okay, so I need to be quiet and demure and wait and just see what happens.
Mhm.
And put up with it
Mhm.
because that's how the principles work. No, it isn't.
Mhm. Mhm.
Gary Vaynerchuk is as much made as the principles as the Dalai Lama. They've probably got more in common than people would ever imagine.
Yeah.
It's a ludicrous idea to segregate a pattern of behaviors and go, oh, I couldn't do any of that. And that's just snobbery, really.
Yeah.
Well meant snobbery, but it's just snobbery.
Yeah.
So it's seeing these things, seeing the vast playing field of what's possible, and playing with that, and go, and like maybe somebody who's really quiet normally would really enjoy being a little more forward.
Mhm.
Like that would be a really beautiful character for them to play.
Mhm.
And I do this with my one-to-one clients. We create characters that they want to play, like superheroes and stuff like that, to
Mhm.
tease out of them
Mhm.
ways of being that they've shut down in the early years that are bad, wrong, girls don't do that, boys don't say that, that's
Mhm.
too pushy, you're rude, you're
Mhm.
full of yourself, you're arrogant, all those things. They shut off bits of our energy. So this is about bringing all of you back online, and then presence takes over.
Mhm.
And so then when you're with someone and the opportunity to create a program comes, ideas just come to them.
Mhm.
And then you just start talking about them with someone. Here's what I'm seeing. How does that sound for you? Collaborative
Mhm.
creation. It's really beautiful to explore. It is a giant game, really.
Mhm.
It should be played as such.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, yes,
Is that helpful?
yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So what I'm hearing is like, this is what I'm taking away from this is it's not so, it's the who. Well, it's like the creation, it's understanding of what I want to do and freeing myself sort of from these constraints that I put up in my mind.
Yeah.
Once I loosen that up, then it's much more likely I actually come with ideas
Completely.
that
Yeah.
then I can even adjust to
Yeah.
people. It could be that I can think of, now where we're talking, like I could think of having a group of, let's say, 10 women, and I can think of which women I start talking to them. It's like, this is what I'm
Exactly.
thinking. And this
Yes.
is what will be beneficial to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want to create. Would this be
Yeah.
of interest? Like, what would be of interest? And then creating it sort of like ad hoc, still in
Well,
preparation, but like,
in business, of course, ad hoc is called market research and
yes.
product development. So none of this is like, it's all there,
Yeah.
but we've labeled it differently. It's like, yeah, completely. So part of what I'm trying to do with this is, first of all, create something that kind of has people go, what? £360 for 12. So that's been the principal reaction I've had from people is,
Yes.
you're crazy, it's too cheap, don't believe you.
Yeah.
So it's, oh, what? Yeah, well, there's method in the madness. It's not quite as daft as it seems.
Yeah.
Like you think of the number of incredible, and I mean emergingly incredible coaches who, frankly, like I was, are on a path of not being able to make enough money to either give up the day job or ever have the impact they want. That's fact.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, if we're lucky, we stumble in the right path, our eyes get open, and it's like, oh, wow, I can see what I was doing wrong. So it makes total sense to share it. And to share it in such a way, at such an access point, that like at this point in my journey, the phrase is no-brainer. If somebody wants to work with me,
Absolutely. I mean,
I will construct a no-brainer offer.
yes.
So this, for me, if somebody really wants to learn how to create package programs, how to have a lot of fun with that, how to nurture who they would need to be to do just what you described, which is perfect. We're like 14 minutes into the call. You created a program. I haven't taught you anything about creating programs, but you just did one. You said, I would do this. I have 10 people. I know what to ask them. I would involve them. That's creating a program. That's it.
Yeah.
You've just done it.
Well, done deal. No, just kidding.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
That's it. And then the reason it's over time is because people can can, lilt away from doing that and start believing stories and whatever. They don't believe it's as easy as. I love that I recorded this because people will just watch it. It's like you just created a program package live during the call within 14 minutes. And then you get some calls monthly just to check in with you to make sure that you have messaged those people, that you have had the conversations, that you're committing and delivering upon your own commitment to yourself. So it's just like a friendly, loving environment to help you do the stuff that you say you want to do. And if you don't want to do it, cool, do something else.
Yeah. It's sort of like unleashing. What I'm hearing is like it's primarily like unleashing the creativity
Completely.
and not being attached. I kind of like what you just said, or don't.
Totally,
right? Because often we get in this thing is like, no, I better come up with these like things, and it just like
that's partially why I picked the figure of 100. I'm like, I've got no idea how that's possible.
I
wouldn't have a clue. I don't have an email list of whatever you'd need to do that easily. Probably 5,000. I don't have that. I don't have a group of 5,000. None of it. Oh well, let's see what happens then. Keep doing the next thing and the next thing.
Exactly.
And people get in touch and go whatever. And I'm hoping what will happen is when people start to sign up and see the simplicity of what I'm pointing to and see that it's possible for them. That's the key. Oh, maybe I could. Oh man, maybe I could. And you've really got to look at the logistics. It's only £360 for 12 months. Well, if 100 people sign up, that's 360 times 100. Well, that's okay.
That's great. Exactly.
There's worse ways to make money. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
totally.
And if I don't know how many you're going to get to. So like maybe some people will be kind and share it with others. Maybe they'll talk about it. Maybe they'll want to do a little bit of facilitating, which is just helping. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't need to know because there's this huge thing called the universe that if I keep, if you like, energetically clean and aligned, is going to help me. And if I trip up and I get a bit inside myself and a bit full of it, it's going to help me then too by whapping me around the head with a cold cod, because that's what it does. So either way, I'm a winner.
Yeah.
If no one signed up and everyone laughed, I'd still have won.
Yeah, of course.
Because I'd have learned so much from the process.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
and that's it. It's about the fun of doing it. And if it happens to work, awesome.
Yes.
But it's the fun of who I can be to create it and give it, give it my best shot.
Yeah. And what inspired you to do this?
Well, part of what I've been trying to do is share things I'm learning, in my own journey, but in an appropriate way. And obviously that depends who you're learning with, to what degree they're comfortable with you sharing.
Yeah.
So I signed up to something to watch someone work with a client in a package. And I've done packages before without realizing packages were a thing. It just like came to me as an idea, like I've explained. And then I learned so that was like for one-to-one people. It's always struck me that was a good idea.
Yeah.
But then when I sat with Robin and Ken years ago, I had some leadership clients at the time, and they just unpacked totally their process, the whole thing of like how to construct 4 days. And they charge very, very strong fee rates, like way out of what I charge, like way out. So they've been doing it for years. They're very well respected in business in the States, and I think in Europe as well. They don't advertise. It's all by referral. It's all by word of mouth. I mean, it's the most beautiful business model. It's lovely, but it kind of opened my eyes. It was like, wow. So if those guys do it and it's really successful, I could just learn from that and start implementing it.
Yeah.
And then it will teach me where I'm deficient, what I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
What other skills I need to develop. So it stops being about me worrying about whether I'm worthwhile or whether I'm an imposter or any of that. They're just like practical things to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like how to, it's just, honestly, I could go on for hours about it. I won't, but I could, about what I learned from the first time I did it. because I went I went straight from, like, we finished their program, I think, on a Sunday afternoon. It was like Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
I literally went straight from that, emailed one of my leadership clients and said, I need to come in and see you tomorrow. It's going to blow your mind. I've got a structure. We can take this to your team. And we took their whole team, 12 leaders, out for 4 days and had a go at it. It was great fun. Learned stacks.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just implement exactly what you what you learned in that course.
Yeah, just start testing it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And start to see that the areas where, so one of the things they do in that structure is they do lots of pre-preparation work. I mean, lots of it. And their fee covers that, whereas, mine was fraction, so it didn't really. But also I really saw the impact of grounding, like they could get people to a place in an hour that I'd probably spend days, weeks trying to do. So that there was like, so there's all of that practical stuff. It's like, wow, yeah, well, I'm not Ken or Robin, like I'm just Daving. So I need to factor that in as well, about how I set up the expectation of the work with people. So there's all of those nuances, but that comes from doing it, testing it, and enjoying it and playing with it. If it's not fun, people just aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
They're not. If it feels like hard work, they'll gravitate to something else.
Yeah. And will some of like the structure be in it as well? Well, that's part of it, of like what you just said, like, I've learned this over here. Are you going to
Completely. I'm going to give you,
I'm
going to give you genuine structures I've sold, including one I sold last night, which is the simplest place to start. It's a one-to-one client.
Yeah.
They've got a chunk of cash to invest. They want to work with me. So those are like the criteria. I'd said to them, right, we're going to create a no-brainer offer for you. I was actually very happy with the fee anyway. To be honest, it was like way more than I thought it was going to be. Beautiful, lovely. Thank you very much. And then ideas just start to come, and I just literally talk to them about it, like you and I talking now. It's no mystery.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what I'm feeling. This is what I think would work really well. I'd like to start with a chunk, like a day together in blocks. This is how we're going to do it. Oh yeah, no, I like the sound of that. You guys said, I like that. That sounds good. And then I want you to sleep on it. I want you to stay locally to where I am. And then we're going to get together the next morning, and we're just going to kind of have a mop up and see where things are. Yeah. It really isn't. It's so easy to like blind people with marketing. Yeah. And it really isn't any more complicated than that. When Birdseye want to create a new form of frozen vegetable, they go to supermarkets with stuff from their lab, wait for people to go past and go, do you want to have a go with this? Yeah. Tell us what you think of it. Taste testing. Yeah. This is the same. It's not any different.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Is this helpful?
No, it is helpful. I'm like, what else did I have like in notes? Because I read all this. Oh yeah, maybe that's, yeah. You just explained my question that I had, because you, right before ethos, you wrote, I've even sat down with clients to design the package in collaboration with them, which I totally loved. And I wrote down, interesting, I would love to know more. And you just explained it.
Yeah. And I'm, with this program, I'm doing the same. People are writing to me. I'm sending them the document, and then getting in touch and going, hey, how did you find the document? Some people go radio silent, which I assume means I hate it, but I don't know that. But it's like, okay, well, it's not going to be for everybody. Yeah. Some people find it very confusing, and I know that I'm not always as clear as maybe I would like to be in how I express things. Yeah. I'm pretty good when I'm speaking, I think. It doesn't seem to be quite as clear. Comes out in more of a rush on the page. But if I can speak with someone, generally I can slow down enough to try and get the feeling of what I'm describing, even if the words aren't perfect. So it's the same thing. And I want people to see that, sorry to interrupt, I want people to see that I kind of want people to have a bit of an epiphany moment of like, oh my goodness, it's my program. He's just going to be over there doing his thing. That program will exist totally in my own thoughts. Cool. I can make of it what I need, including asking for things, challenging, whatever comes up. Everything's to play for.
Yeah.
It's all on the table.
Which is kind of cool. That I really like, because
Yeah.
because then it becomes, yeah, because like when I was reading it, I'm like, yes, that and this, I'd like the structure, I'd like the freedom of my creativity, I like
Yes.
the talking about it, I like the testing it out, I like the
Yes.
how is it done, how have other people done it, so
Yeah.
then it opens up my own creativity. That's kind of what I'm looking for if I'm thinking of, how do I do this,
Well, completely. And once that they're like switches in our neurology, right? Once that switch is lit on, how's someone doing this? The next time you look at something, you look at it and you go, how are they doing that then? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they're doing that, and there'll be things where you look at it and you go, I'm going to incorporate that.
Yeah.
And other things where you look at it and think, never, not doing that. It's just, or not today, or whatever. And that's why I put somewhere, which is what I was just trying to scroll down to.
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna make you small again and the thing
Yeah.
big. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
You acknowledge that wisdom is the trump card, but it also won't always be what's known or comfortable. So that's important.
Yes.
Like your wisdom might tell you to do something, and the little mind might kick in and go, oh, but hang on, we'll be vulnerable. Yeah, you might. Could happen.
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, you agree to follow your heart. And again, somebody could put wisdom or the universe, whatever words work. You agree to follow your heart beyond any of my good ideas.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's I like that. It's what you just explained, it's like at that point I can either take it or not.
Totally.
And it's sort of, yeah, there's a freedom in that versus,
Completely.
success looks like
Completely.
this.
And here's what could happen. And people, I just don't think we think about this being a possibility. I think because my brain's a bit, wired a bit differently, it does think about this as a possibility. You could go through the year, you could literally discount everything I've said and be left with exactly what you want to create in your flavor.
Yeah.
So a little bit like starting with the block of clay, all my ideas are thrown out, and then you're left with your own shape, your own item to sell. So it isn't about awkwardly trying to stick a bit of my idea on and hoping it. It's like it's revealing what it would look like for you.
Yeah, let me ask you a couple other things.
Shoot.
This is more structure one here, towards the end of it. So what I'm seeing is there's going to be 3 mastermind, that are happening.
Yeah.
Then 6 Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
To being coached,
Yeah.
So in the mastermind is sort of like what? Yeah. What else here? Yeah, that's it, right? So we'll be in the mastermind, sort of like understanding more the structure and the being. The Zoom meeting, and then is sort of like, okay, what does it look like for you, Susie? And then you start coaching that person.
Exactly. Yeah. So in my imagination, first meeting, there's 101 people on the call. There's 100 people and myself, which would be super cool. And so basically, I'll teach the first piece of content, which is like a nice, easy place to start, which is shifting from, you've got someone who wants to work with you. So shifting from selling, X hours to creating a package with them. So probably like half an hour, 45 minutes of content, then maybe take some questions and then send everybody off into rooms of 10 with a facilitator where people can share just like you did. Oh, wow, yeah, I want to do this. I want 10 people. I know who to talk to, and they can make their notes, and then they can just go and implement, go and do it. And then at the next ordinary monthly meeting, people can send their questions in advance, and they're bound to be like questions. So answer one person, you're going to answer like 20. And we can share, we can do some hot seat coaching, and then be like, oh yeah, okay, I get what I could do next. Off we go again next month. And then in another month, okay, new piece of content. Here's a new thing you can try. Those of you who want to do stuff in schools or businesses, here's a model used by Insight Principles. This works really well. Here's how you do it. Here are the pitfalls that I experienced in my discovery that I wasn't those guys. Oops, didn't factor, should have factored in humility, didn't. There we go, learning all the time. Oops. So bad one, Dave, to miss that one. But anyway, so here's how it would work. This is the conversation you could have with a leader. Okay, go to your room. Do you have an opportunity? Is there somebody you know who might be willing to have a conversation? I think it just takes the heat and the fear out of it. It just becomes like really practical, ordinary things to do. Oh yeah, I know somebody in business with a sales team. I could maybe talk to them about that. Think how good a clear-minded sales team would be. And I've got lots of little stories of stuff I've done over the years. My challenge personally has not been not doing cool stuff. It's been consistency. It's been that. So that's why I joined the school. It's like, well, Kush looks like a guy who does consistency. Cool. I need to learn that.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, when you're doing this, I'm like, oh, I do consistency. I don't do cool stuff. So that,
that's there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So like and for me, it's like, well, the reason I created it as a program is because I'd love to do it. Like if somebody had showed me years ago, right, okay, I'm going to teach you a whole bunch of ways to do packages, and it's what price? It's not like 3,600 or 36,000, whatever. 360 quid for a year. I'd have ripped their arm off.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. I'm completely open about it. That's where I am in my business. It's like evolution too.
Yeah.
Didn't go the way I wanted it to go first time. I'll be completely transparent about all of it. I genuinely have nothing to hide. I might blush a bit and whatever, some of the stories are a bit cringy, but there you go. I'm a big boy.
Don't we all have cringy stories?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whoa, I'm so unusual. I messed up. Yeah, totally. Yeah. We can just be in it together, like just creating and having fun with it. Like the being visible thing. Have fun with it. Have fun with being visible.
Yeah.
Like turn it into a Disney experiment. I don't know. Turn up as Mickey Mouse or something. Play a character that's so far out of how you would normally play. That you've got a chance to learn stuff you'd never normally learn.
And how are you going to use these facilitators? Because you were saying up to 10 facilitators. How do they come into the...
Well, really, it's just, so when we break off into rooms, obviously I can't be in 10 rooms. So you just kind of need somebody to steer it and somebody to go, that's interesting. And some people really like that role. Like they like that. It's just part of like their own evolution, and they're like, oh, okay, I quite enjoy doing that. So it's not a biggie. It's just kind of, keeping a bit of order and making sure people do get a chance to share and are encouraged to share and are encouraged to be visible for themselves. So they create the most out of it that they can create.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay.
No, I think
I'll stop sharing and I'll pause the recording. Thank you. Awesome questions.